And I believe in that. And there's been something in me that has been kind of simmering. I haven't been letting it shine. I haven't been taking the additional step to help basically kind of show my skills and help build my friends up at the same time. And there was a little voice in my ear, and I'm a Christian, I'm a daughter of a pastor. I grew up very God-fearing, and I believe that when God has a plan for you, you really step out on faith and just let it happen. This happened January 7th. I got 7 people to really believe in my dream, and I convinced them to create connected themes and to come up with me and to really just kind of look at life in a way that we can all win if we work together. And a lot of the collaborative things that happen are things that happen when you look across from you, not above you, and sometimes not below you either. So when you look at the other people that are your peers and figure out how you can create with them, that's how you make magic, and that's how you make your dreams come true. And I've been seeing that happen for this 20-day cycle. It's only January 27th. So we got this entire event, all of y'all to know about us, our social, our site, these amazing speakers. Every single thing has been done in 20 days, and I just want to thank you all for believing in us and for participating with us, because this is a collective that is here to stay. We're really focused on fashion, beauty, lifestyle, and entertainment. So for those of you that are doing your own passion projects or even working professionally in those fields, you can come to Connected Themes and know that we are your fashion fortress. We are your family. And we don't play the whole cattiness and the whole, competitive nature in these walls. So when you come in this area, just know that we are all connected and we want to get and stay connected together. So I just want to welcome you all here and thank you all for being here and get this panel started. So, And if I do begin, I definitely want to just thank my amazing host and moderator, a friend of mine from Howard University. If there's any Howard family in the building. Okay, Sidnee is just a dear soul, and I've seen her grow and mature in her career path and personally so much. So I'm not going to waste any time. You guys can get connected with her and everybody else on the panel afterwards. But I'm just going to read you a quick bio, a little bit of Sidnee's background if you don't really know her in these streets. She is a reporter, a journalist, a producer, editor, media whiz, and pop culture guru. Sidnee Michelle has been working in the industry for a little under a decade, and she is only 25. Her birthday was a couple days ago.
I have another one.
Happy belated Aquarius. Oh,
Capricorn. Right.
So from high fashion runways, music, and political interviews to hosting top nationwide events, Sidnee Michelle has been breaking barriers since she was a young girl. She's originally from Brooklyn, New York, by way of Jersey, and she started her career interning at the Source magazine, where she quickly was promoted to an on-camera personality. And now from there she moved to Forbes magazine, where she was covering a lot of the Forbes 30 under 30 journalism, and also was the first woman of color to ever report on camera. And to think that that just happened about a year ago. Over a year ago, she was offered an anchoring position at Complex Media, where she started as the lead anchor for Complex's new channel. And now she works for herself as a freelance journalist. And to think that she only did a couple of years with skin in the game, and now she's able to basically be her own boss is very, very, very compelling. She's interviewed some of today's hottest celebrities, including but not limited to Tyra Banks, Taraji P. Henson for her new movie Proud Mary, support the Howard alum, Cardi B, who we all love, I'm sure, and want to modify our 2018 behind, Kalani, Nick Jonas, and Fetty Wap, and so much more. So give Sidnee a round of applause. Basically, today's topic is about preparing yourself for New York Fashion Week. We want to get you guys involved with being in the room. We need representation, and we need to be there and supporting each other. So the more of us there, the better the work that we can do. and that we can show forth. So keep your questions till the end, and we are going to be connected about that topic specifically, all right? All right, cool. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. First of all, I want to give another round of applause to Candace. Candace, don't go far. This girl created this panel within weeks, so I just want to give it up to her. I've seen her grow through Howard and, in the industry now, so. I would love to introduce my panelists, but I think it's so much better if they introduce themselves, starting with Stixx to my left. Let's give it up for him. Amazing stylist with Good Morning America, and I'm going to let you splurge on yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Stixx in the City from Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. I'm a stylist to Amy Roback at Good Morning America. I also have my own lipstick and lip gloss line. I'm a fashion correspondent for E! News as a junior correspondent. So, that's just a little bit of my zhuzh.
And next we have Talia Bella, Kenneth Kyrell. Let's give it up for her.
My name is Talia Bella. Bella is not my real name. It's a name that I created when I was on MySpace when I was like 13. The power of marketing and social media earlier. But I really pride myself in being a creative director, wardrobe stylist, as well as a model. I typically don't like to announce those things in any particular order. I just see it as me being a creative and staying true to myself. I will be 25 on February 7th. And as Candace said earlier, she said on the 7th, she got this 7 group of, sponsors or people that believed in her event. And here we are at the 27th. And 27 is actually my favorite number. So I'm really, really excited and really feeling like things are aligned today. So I'm excited to hear about you guys and share more about myself.
And next we have Kenneth.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenneth Kyrell. I am originally from North Carolina. I went to school at Morejon in Atlanta. I am a fashion director for Macy's over Ready to Wear, and I'm also a DJ. I do some brand work with brands like Forever 21, GQ Magazine, Details, so on and so on. And yeah, you'll learn more about me.
So modest.
And lastly, with certain last names, we have Paul.
So I'm Paul Morejon. I'm born and raised in Harlem, New York, and South Bronx, and photographer. I shoot New York Fashion Week, and I also have a restaurant uptown in Harlem. Maybe 5 years ago, I was where you were sitting with you, we're looking and wanting to make the most of Fashion Week. So I'm ready to share whatever I learned along the way, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. And I look forward to networking with you all afterwards.
So as Candace said, this panel is mainly about New York Fashion Week. It's a little intro to New York Fashion Week. We're going to talk about how to get into the hottest events, the shows, what was our first experience like, and so much more. And I encourage everyone after the panel to network and exchange information just so we can all have a great New York Fashion Week. So to start, I want to ask all you guys, how did you guys get your start into fashion? Is it something you originally studied in school, or is it something that you just kind of picked up?
Okay, so for me, I attended at HBCU as well. I went to Kane College. And while I was in undergrad, I actually got my start in the strip club. I was at King of Diamonds. I was at Follies. I was at all those clubs with all those girls like Jocelyn, all those girls. And so they had their own businesses. They didn't know really how to style. They just knew how to shake it. So I'm from the hood, so I'm not ashamed to say that. I knew to come in and say, look, you need this. This is what you need to put on. You need to put this on the model, and girl, we're going to snap it up. So one thing led to another. I was in Miami with Lazani, and then, I just worked from there. And then I moved to New York.
Awesome. Talia?
Well, both of my parents have always had their own personal style. I come from a background where my mother is Sicilian Italian and my father is African American. So naturally, they kind of linked up with, I guess my dad hollered at my mom because she had on some red Gucci boots. And then my mom was pregnant a year later. So I after hearing that story and just kind of growing up with someone who had the knowledge of the luxury brands, and then my father with the Butters or Tims and his street knowledge, it just really molded my perspective. Growing up, I always knew I don't have to look like the next person. I don't have to dress like them because I am different and I come from something so different. And there were stages where my dad would be like, I'm buying you some baby fat or some dairy on, and I would be like, no, I'm at PacSun, like working my first job. But through those differences, I was really able to like come up with my own thing and stay true to that and really hold tight to vintage. That was kind of like my save all through everything, because even when you're broke, you can go into a thrift store and make some things work. I recommend like you all just mixing and matching high and low while I'm at it. But anyway, I moved forward with going to college. I studied corporate communications. I originally thought that I would be kind of like what Sidnee's doing now, just killing it in the broadcast journalism game, and things changed. I interned at ABC, and while I was interning there, I said like, nah, I really need to be like in these New York streets. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. Love Memphis, shout out to Memphis, but that isn't gonna take me to that next step with the people and the audience that I really need to connect with. So to make a long story short, I hit up somebody on Craigslist. When I looked under the gig section, I saw that an editor from DC needed a body in New York for Fashion Week to correspond and cover events, and the pay was $150 for the week. I bought a one-way to New York, and that $150 bought my trip back to school in Memphis, and after that, I was like, I'm out. I left, and I came to New York, but we'll go into that more later. But again, like that drive and having street knowledge and luxury knowledge just put me into a different position of my own, and I've built upon that.
Awesome story.
Right.
So I did not major in fashion. I actually have a degree in business administration with a concentration in marketing. However, I was always into it. My grandmother is a seamstress, so I was around it like at a very young age. When I went to Morehouse, I started a blog called The No Names with one of my best friends, Jovel, and that kind of opened doors. So we were in Atlanta, we were, covering local designers, we were going to these events, and then the traction picked up. We were heavy on Tumblr, so people in New York City started knowing about us. I then got an internship my junior year of college to work here at Macy's, or to intern at Macy's, and then from there they would offer me a full-time position. So I say that to say, you don't have to have a degree in fashion to work in fashion. And a lot of people that I work with honestly did not major in fashion. I work with designers, I work with buyers, I work with, PR people, but it's just really what you are passionate about and just how you put yourself forward.
Okay.
So I did not study photography formally. I took continuing education courses at SVA, like second career photographer. My first career was really technology management, IT, and social media apps, all that stuff. So really, like, I left that world because I'd always been taking pictures, and people loved them. And I was shooting on like crappy cameras and whatever, and shooting on anything. Whenever I could shoot, I would shoot something, and I thought it was a hobby. So I spent far too long in corporate, doing great, but like not really being passionate about what I was doing. And so my journey really kind of took me to photography, a second career, when my husband noticed I was not very happy in corporate, and he was like, hey, you should be doing something that you're passionate about, and you're not really happy in this corporate world. And I just stopped and changed my mind about it, and I just took a journey towards photography. Then I went to SVA while I was at my job still, and I thought it was a hobby, and then finally I started showing pictures around, and luckily the right people through networking at the right events. Someone said, hey, I love this photo you took of an editor. She saw my photo of her at a fashion party where I was shooting for free, where I just brought my camera and pretended I was the event photographer. Yeah, you gotta take it sometimes, and they're like, I'm not a photographer. Yeah. And then I showed her the picture, she loved it. She's like, oh my God, can you shoot? And I think it was Jill Stewart. And then I said, okay, of course, I will go. And then it became next season was 3 more shows, next season was 5 shows. Last season was 12 shows, and then growing, and there's level ups in there. But the journey was definitely through networking, and obviously being passionate about what I was doing, what I'm doing.
So I think the main thing that resonates with me through all these amazing stories is don't ever put yourself in a box. We have, you got your start with the strippers in Memphis, and then we have people that went into business and all these different types of stories. Where don't put yourself in the box. If you love fashion, if you have a passion for it, it doesn't matter what you're doing at the time. Go for it, because you never know what can happen. You see the testament right here to all these success stories.
Right.
So I want to ask you guys all mentioned how you got, your internships and, working in business administration, and I got my internship at The Source. How would you guys give advice to our audience about getting, even though they're not fashion internships, just getting your foot in the door? Like I said, for me, for an example, when I was at the Source and I had my internship, I started working with the fashion editor there, and then we, helped develop Jones magazine, which is kind of like the sister fashion magazine to the Source. So although I did not come in there for that specific reason, I was able to, get my foot in the door and, kind of plant my seed. So how would you guys give advice to the crowd about getting your foot in the door?
For me, I think it's all about just doing the work and not looking for anything in return. Just knowing that the universe will return to you what you give out if it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, for instance, a lot of the girls that I was in the strip club with, I would write their papers for them.
Mm-hmm.
And in return, they would go and tell their girlfriend that was probably editor or something at Vibe or, at some television station, like, look, this guy styled me. He wrote a paper for me, like, what can you do for him? And so, it's just all about being a good person and not talking too much. just listening, because everything that I have done thus far, I've gotten it from just listening and knowing when to strike at the right time. So.
I would totally agree with Stixx. The only difference is that I talk a lot. But knowing what to say and how to say it is very important, and that's even something that I still work through when I have conversations, really learning, those skills to when to step up and when to fall back, especially being a female in this male-dominated industry. It's very important to teeter that line where you kind of are not doing too much, but you're doing enough to show that you're here to work and you're here to build relationships. You're not just here for the moment, because that is an issue where people kind of feel like you could be a phase or you can be temporary. So making yourself an asset and making yourself valuable in any room. But as far as internships go and not really constraining yourself to one mold, it's really about just talking to people, not for what you can get from the situation, but again, like what you can learn. And then putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. You never know where one uncomfortable situation can lead you. One of my best career moments was actually working on the set of Worst Behavior for Drake in Memphis, Tennessee. And at the time, I got hired to be a runner. And that literally is like anything that anyone needs and wants at the time, go get it. Luckily, Director X was directing that video, and I was able to make a great connection with him to where I wasn't really going to like get chips or anything like that. But just from being in the background and in the environment that day, randomly I got cold, I wore someone's red OVO hoodie, and then I ended up on the Two Dope Boys blog, which at the time was huge. And that picture rolled over into the Associated Press and then was submitted with, to different blogs and different publications and media outlets. But that's literally because I was there and I was on a fall break from school. I cut out of work early at American Apparel that day, and I was like, I'm sick. I don't know what I even told them now, but it was just saying like, I'm humble enough to know if I'm gonna be around Drake and Director X, even if I gotta go grab like some tissues and some like potato chips, that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to be nobody's groupie. I am a fan, but I'm here to understand this culture and what I'm working around. So I would always say just putting yourself in the room and in the environment and knowing your intentions and knowing the people around you intentions. And speaking up for yourself,
So I would say to do the work, do the research, and not expect anything in return, but also to just understand that you can create your own opportunity. And I say that to say, like, for me personally, my first fashion week was my sophomore year of college. And I was able to attend and able to assist based on an email I sent. And a lot of people in this industry, or just like our age range, we have a lot of pride. And a lot of times we think that, well, I want to wait for this person to see me on Instagram, or I want to wait for this person to just like, randomly meet me in Starbucks. But if you have the resources, if you can type up an email, if you can pick up a phone, you can get where you want to get to.
send a DM.
Exactly. And
Do what you gotta do.
I didn't say this before, but I've been in the fashion industry like for probably 8+ years now. And I'm just now transitioning out of the fashion industry to focus on DJing full time. But a lot of the opportunities that I've gotten this past year with DJing, from DJing a party for Cassie, Dolce & Gabbana, has been me reaching out and people knowing how hard I work, whether it be for fashion, whether it be with my friends, anything. Just people know that I work hard, and that's what you put out there. And so it's like everyone's on social media all the time. We're always snapping, but like showcase your work and just like how hungry you are for it.
Yeah.
Everything they say. Plus, I will say you're going to meet someone and you're going to be networking and connecting and Instagramming. I'd say like have a purpose, a pitch, something to kind of take forward immediately. Don't like just follow and forget about it. Like you should message right then and say, hey, it was great to meet you, and have something that you can pin something to. Like I would love to use your clothing in a shoot. I'd love to intern for whatever. But like just I think people who are passionate, you can tell, and people who are authentic, you can tell. So whatever that authentic thing you want to do is, like just make it known, like put it out there like really fast. Don't kind of play a game about I'm gonna wait or I'm just gonna follow and then they're gonna see me. It really is like, seize the opportunity, make your opportunities. If you don't have them in front of you, like I met designers and I just shooting them for like a quick behind the scenes, whatever those shots you see backstage, and I show it to them. I send it to them directly, and I say, hey, if there's ever an opportunity, I'd love to shoot for you. And that's kind of like become shoots, become books and things like that. So I think video projects and all that. It comes from my world of photography. You really have to be aggressively championing yourself, believing in yourself, and seize opportunities like that. It's, the worst they're going to say is not right now or maybe later, but they might say yes, and what could that yes turn into? So just believe in that opportunity happening. So pursue it.
I agree with everything they said. I think just to wrap it up, I would say that don't be afraid, to really put yourself in the position to get a yes. Sometimes, especially in the early stages, we think that sending 1,000,001 emails, like we're being annoying, like we're pestering the person that we want to get in contact with. When I tell you, when I got my first internship at the source, I probably sent 6 emails before I heard anything. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm so annoying. Like, they're probably not going to get it in a lot. As soon as I sent that 6th email, literally the next day, they're like, come in for an interview. So it shows the drive, it shows the hunger. You just have to know the approach. And we can talk about that later. We can talk about that after the panel. It's all about having the approach and having the drive to get where you want to be, to go where you want to be. So I want to ask you guys, who were your mentors and people that gave you a start or a big break, and what levels did you trust to build with them? Because everyone kind of has people we look up to in the industry, but what specifically was the connection with you and your mentor? Who was it, and what was the connection?
Oh wow. I moved around a lot, so I had a lot of mentors, but when I moved to New York, I was homeless at the time, and a good friend of mine, I don't know if you all may know him, but Zoe Dupree, he's the stylist to Young Thug. Whatever their rapper name is. But he's the stylist, and he told me to come to church with him. And I was like, look, church is not going to help me. I need a place to stay. I need somewhere to go. Like, it's snowing outside. It's like up to my chest. What is church going to do? He was like, I'm telling you, just come to church. Long story short, I went to church with him. And the 2 pastors, Bruce and Bruce Glenn, I forgot their names, but they knew a girl that needed an assistant at Good Morning America. And so after the service, after I gave them my last $5, they were like, listen, literally, I didn't even have money when I gave them my $5, I was like, bro, can you just give me like $275 get on the train? He's like, I got you. Listen, I didn't swipe, because at this point, I'm not going to jail for jumping under the bed. Right. So, they talked to me, they knew my background. They were like, what are you doing Monday? I'm like, it's snowing. You want me to come Monday? I was like, you want this job? You want to go? So I went, and the girl was like, you need to start now. I need this, I need that, and you need to go now. And I literally have been there for 4 years now. So if it wasn't for Zoe entrusting me, and plus I've written a lot of papers for him. He's my frat brother. So it was just a lot going on with him. But had he not taken a chance on me and trusted that I would do the work and do it well and not expect anything, then without him, I would not be here right now. I would be back in Memphis. So.
Well, that's amazing. One more time for his testimony. I was able to witness some of that, and to see him and sit next to him on this panel is like a very powerful moment for me right now. So for myself personally, strongly believe in keeping connections from literally even childhood. You just really never know who you can connect with, but again, that expectation, kind of taking that away and just seeing where you can add to someone's life is very important. So when I was in Memphis, Tennessee in college, I helped open the Urban Outfitters store with a group of like 11 people, and at the time I was going through like a vetting process for my sorority. Shout out to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
All
If you're
right.
in the building. But I was going through sort of a process with them, and I was speaking to different people about, you know, some decision making. And at the time, a guy named Harrison Christ, he actually came in and he picked up I guess like a second gig or whatever at Urban Outfitters for the holidays. And at the time, I had already seen him. At the time, it was like Facebook, I think. I was like, oh, dude is fly. Like, he's about to be working with me. I really need to, like, get under his, like, skin and, like, figure out what I can learn and absorb. And I'll just never forget, one night, we both were in charge of trading the sales section, which if y'all shop sale at Urban, it is trash. So they gave him the broom, and then they told me to hit the racks. And I'll never forget, I was like, do you think that we're going to be doing this in a few years? And he was like, I'm actually headed to New York to move next month between me and you. And I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah, you should totally move to New York. And again, I was in college at the time and, you know, focus on other things. But I was like, okay, you know what? I'm staying close to this guy because the one day that I do move to New York or decide to even come visit for Fashion Week, this is going to be someone that I really can count on and depend on. And I actually contacted him to come to my first New York Fashion Week. Ironically, my 21st birthday was his 1 year anniversary in New York. So we finally linked up. When I got here, it was like my first ever day of shows, and I just told him, like, I don't think I want to be a stylist. I don't really like think I could do this runway modeling. At the time, I didn't think any of that was possible. So I'm like, let's just build whatever you need help with, however I can assist. If I need to like take some wardrobe back somewhere, anything, you just let me know what you need. I'm here to support you because I want to learn and I want to catch these little gems that and the hustle. Really, like the word internship, I just tell you guys, like, a mentor to me is much stronger and deeper connection because you see that person pour their blood, sweat, and tears into everything without an ego. You see them when they need you. Mentors need mentees as well, and I have two of my assistants here today. There's been times where they've seen me literally crying, and my account might be overdrafting, but we're going to get in this Uber and take this wardrobe somewhere real quick because this check about to hit right after we complete this job. So it's just a matter of...
That
Let's
part.
just be honest. So yeah, to go back to that, you know, he kind of helped me learn and understand some of the people in this industry, and then as I made connections with camps like TDE and OVO and you know, different groups of people in the music and fashion industry, Jet Life, shout out to them. Different people just started to look out for me, and they would hit me up like, hey Talia, I'm in town, you know where we can get these shoes, or Talia, Currency wants a vintage jersey, can you run to the thrift store real quick? And I consider these people like almost like family to this day. You know, these are people I can call when I need that Uber and I might not have that money in my account or whatever. So not just about mentors and mentees even, but just remember who are valuable players in your life and the people that you look up to, and even the people that I think one of you mentioned, sometimes the people that you don't even think you may need. It's not even that. You learn from everyone around you. But that's my story.
And we're connected through Harrison too, so.
For me, honestly, a lot of my mentors have been upperclassmen that I went to school with. And Issa Rae said something that really resonated with me. She said a lot of people are worried about networking up and not across.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I went to college, I had an interest in fashion. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with it. So I linked up with the upperclassmen who were directors of the Homecoming Fashion Show for Spelman and Morehouse, and just asked if they can just take me in. You know, I was returning clothes, I was steaming garments. Me and Andrew actually did a lot of work like together. And then that work, you know, caught on, and my junior and senior year, I became the creative director of the show, like overall. And just, you know, having those mentors that were like a few years older than me, just connecting with people that they know, whether it be boutique owners, whether it be, you know, people in production or PR, really helped me out. And to this day, a lot of my, I guess, mentors, or I like to say inspiration, comes from my peers, because I feel like we are all so connected, and my connection can help Candace can help you, and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't think as a mentor as being someone who's older, who has been in the game for so long. It could be honestly like someone who's a year or two older than you.
Or younger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think in my experience, like I think that works a lot, and because I'm coming into this game second career, so it's like it's never too late. Obviously, you got to jump in and get this started. So the mentors that I've encountered are usually like fashion editors, and that's gonna be blogs or print. Is anybody here trying to be a fashion editor? Well, if you are, you're gonna piss a lot of people off, but that's okay. And the work of fashion editorial, being a fashion editor, I think, is to critique, to have a point of view, to be committed to it, be strong. And as a photographer, like obviously I'm gonna try and like do my best and submit my best, and I'm gonna love the work that I submit. But to hear back critique and it makes you better, it sharpens your kind of blade against that stone is really kind of important. So I think when you're around your peers, I often see it's like your family's gonna love you no matter what. So you can't always go with like your family saying like, oh my God, it's amazing, it's amazing. You gotta like show it to people who are like are as good or better than what you're doing a little bit to get some critique and like sharpen that kind of blade that you got so you can do the next one even better. So I think the mentors that at least have been helpful for me are the ones that kind of pitch back to me and say, hey, can we do a little more contrast here? Can we get this angle? Can we reshoot it this way? Whatever the case may be, I think photography is highly subjective, and there's obviously a commercial world and an art world, and I try to bridge in between that fine art kind of work that I do. So I think editors are amazing mentors in my category, and I really appreciate what they do, even though I want to yell at them sometimes and like you don't know what you're talking, but they do what they do for a reason, and if they're really good, they know how to nurture you into like becoming better. And it's also true of stylists. If anyone here is looking to be a stylist as well, that's an amazing job, and obviously like we all know like stylists are like the glue that keeps this industry together. They are amazing. Like I can take a picture, but I can make a photo with a stylist. It's like it's a whole different thing that they add. They're magic, and they're not like any other type of artist that I experienced in photo shoots. So when you partner with somebody for a photo shoot or whatever you do, make sure the stylist you pick is amazing, and it does not have to be someone who's like amazingly like popular, just an amazing stylist. You can find them, and like that'll help you transform your projects. In my experience.
Well, just a really quick piggyback off of what you're saying, I actually have connected with a photographer who originally shot a street style portrait of me at Fashion Week about 3 years ago. It was literally when I was outside of the Yeezy Season 2 show and I couldn't get in. And he really got me like when I was in my phone texting my friend like, damn, I couldn't finesse. But that picture, literally I contacted him after and I was like, you really got me in a moment that you have no idea like what you just captured, but we need to work together. So the following season, he got another full street portrait of me, more staged this time, of course. And then he was like, so what are you actually doing? Because I would never tell anyone that I was a this or that. And I was like, I'm really just trying to build this styling portfolio. And from there, he started inviting me into his photo studio. His name is Andrew Morella's Life and Reverie. I owe him so much because over the last year and a half, he's helped tremendously with my career, helped me build those studio images that I need. And it's a complete partnership. I bring the wardrobe, he sources the talent or the model from the agency, and then we just build. And there's times where I bring things on my rack that are literally at the last minute from the Goodwill or from my friend's closet, and maybe like sometimes 2 pulls from designers, but Andrew has all that great equipment. He has that studio space that he shares with others, and so you guys really should be partnering as well with, different creatives and not necessarily the person that, you want to be like all the time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of our panelists' commentary. I think the main thing I agree with is to definitely network up, but also network across. There's like so many people in this room that I can't even. Europe, my homegirl, gave me one of my first opportunities with Sprite, which helped me build my interview to get my job at Forbes. Candace from the Powered Fashion shows where I really came into myself. It's definitely networked across, and then I had the pleasure of Karen Civil being one of my mentors. She gave me my first referral when I was at the Source. Just so happens a reporter dropped out. She got sick and they needed a quick referral for a reporter to take her spot. Karen recommended me, and the next interview I did was with Currency. So that was like my first huge interview. And it's just crazy the way the world works, but definitely keep those relationships strong, whether they're, across your platform, your peers, and then definitely don't be afraid to reach out to, people that you look up to. I want to ask you guys per panelist that kind of, personalize these questions. What were your early trials and tribulations? Stixx, I want to start with you. Being the amazing person that you are from Memphis, Tennessee, from the South. What were your trials and tribulations, with that and entering the fashion industry?
Well, if you all know Southern people, you all know that we are very trusting. So I was working in social work because I hold my degree in sociology, and this girl from BET, she hit me up and she was like, look, I need a stylist. I will fly you out every weekend, and you can go back to Atlanta and you can do what you do. So long story short, I packed up in the middle of the night and I came to New York. I just left everything. And we worked together for a couple of months, and then bam, she was like, okay, you gotta go. So I'm here. I left my fabulous condo in Dunwoody, all my connections, everything, all my Chanel bags, everything. My red bottoms, everything. So, I'm on the street at this point. So I'm from the hood. So I'm like, slow feet don't eat. So I gotta think fast. Because I'm not going back to Atlanta. I'm not, because I had this and stuff in Atlanta. So I'm like, I'm not going back to Atlanta. I'm never going back to Memphis. So it was just like, look, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I pulled myself up on my bootstraps. I literally was couch surfing, and I was still taking jobs. I didn't want a regular 9 to 5. So I'm like, anything you need. If you need me to do pulls, if you need me to do stained garments, if you need me to get you coffee, whatever you need, I'm here to do. Just throw me a couple of dollars so I can get on the train.
That's it.
So, and I was doing that for a good year. So finally, a friend of mine that actually got me to this point, he was hosting his RSVP party for New York Fashion Week. And of course he was charging, so I gave him my last $20 again for this party. And so he was like, look, Stixx, I'm gonna tell you, because you have an amazing resume, so if you say it just like I tell you to say it, I promise you're gonna get into all the shows, you're gonna make all the connections you need. And by this time next year, you're gonna be back in your Chanel bags, you're gonna be back in your showcase. You're not gonna even remember that any of this happened. You're not gonna remember who did this to you, whatever. So I took a chance on him, and I literally did it. And then from there, it literally skyrocketed. I mean, I was doing commercials for E! News during Fashion Week. I don't know if y'all seen me on a big airboard, but I had on the big fur, it was too much. I mean, but I was here, I was there, and then everyone was like, Stixx. And I'm like, look, I'm the finesse king. So, that's half the story. I'll tell y'all later.
And Talia, being one of them, she was in the Yeezy fashion show, one of the amazing models. Being, not the conventional model type. I mean, when I was doing my modeling too, I'm short. So, I'm not too short, y'all. But I'm not the average model height. But you were so amazing in the Yeezy fashion show. Tell me about what that was like. Were you feeling insecure with all these 5-10 models? I know that's how I was. But tell me a little bit about that. What was going through your mind at that point in time?
Well, for a start, just so y'all know, I'm 5'1.5". But my arms are actually longer than my legs. And if you want to talk about trials and tribulations, growing up, I was always the girl with the big head, and I'm a late bloomer. So I was cute, forever cute. Don't get it twisted. But
we had them rough years.
I have a Italian mom. My hair sometimes just either them straight to the backs or a real messy ponytail. Just different days. But to speak to working with Kanye West Productions and Kim Kardashian and the Yeezy season 3 actually. Shout out to Nisha over here. She actually put me in that bodysuit that kind of broke the internet. She's actually from Memphis and was working with the styling team that day. And I just remember feeling a little nervous. We were actually bused to Jersey. I was an extra. I had actually attended the formal casting to be a primary model, and the height issue came up. It was you're great, you're photographing well. I had got a email to attend actually even a nude casting where it was can you submit some nude pictures or come take some, because that may be a part of the show. Kanye's vision, if you ever work with him, it changes literally every hour, I think, or maybe more than that. But at the time I was eager, and I remember having this birthday dinner when I didn't get the show, and I had a table of 30 something people, and I said to them y'all, I just auditioned for Kanye West. I didn't make the audition, but I was wearing these little army boots. I said, it's Teasy season at my birthday. So we was turning up at Dallas BBQ. Literally, I got a hangover the next day, and they're like, would you like to be an extra in the show? And they called me, and I'm like, sure. So anyway, go to be an extra, and I remember seeing Nisha and actually meeting her for the first time. I had heard a lot about her, and I walked up to her and just knowing myself and knowing my body type and also working as a stylist, I said, like, they cannot put me in this mustard yellow. Like, they were about to put me in some mustard yellow, and I was like, I'm not gonna stand out in mustard yellow. The primary models are wearing nude. I asked Nisha, like, what I need to do to wear nude? And she was like, just go to the bathroom and come back. So I did, and I remember when I put on that bodysuit, they were like, do you mind not wearing a coat with this? I guess, because at the time, I was looking a little right. And I was like, sure, I don't mind, because if this is my moment, and this is art, and this is a Kanye West production, I need to put some of my fear and my pride to the side and kind of step outside of my tomboy, oversized wardrobe, and do the damn thing. And that is what made me stand out. Even though I'm 5'1", even though, again, like, I'm not super conventional model type, I do have skinny, long arms, but at the end of the day, I knew what it would take image-wise to put myself in that position and literally elevate. So, I mean, I don't know, I have a lot of confidence, but returning for season 4, luckily Kanye was looking for a lot of multicultural models, and that was not exclusive to mixed girls. For the record, just to, so you all know, he wanted different types of women, black, white, Chinese, Latin, and actually being asked to come back, I think Amira was there in the show as well with me, and we had to swap outfits at a certain point. But and she'll tell you, I was kind of complaining. I'm like, I'm not wearing lime green, I'm not wearing brown. Put me back in the traditional nude, and it wasn't a battle, it wasn't an ego thing. It was more of me understanding my purpose there. Again, if I'm small and I'm petite and I'm different and I'm here again, I need to be as close to the branding, and I'm not getting paid. So I really need to figure out how I can maneuver and capitalize on this moment. And I recommend everybody take that mentality. Like, if you're ever not paid for a job, some of the girls there, they didn't feel comfortable what they were wearing that day. And they even said it. And they literally said, like, I'm not saying nothing. I ain't about to get thrown off set. And I put my foot down enough to where I went from wearing all black to being at the back of that color gradient, if you've seen the show, to being in 4th row, wearing nude, wearing exactly what I wanted, what I felt comfortable in, and representing the brand. So it's a true testament to, thank you. It just speaks to, you really just have to know your purpose and know exactly who you are and stand firm in that, because I don't care if I'm 5'1", or I don't care if I'm 6'5", or whatever, I'm black, white, Puerto Rican, Haitian, like, I'm gonna do what I need to do to elevate myself in my career and stand true in my purpose.
Yes.
So yeah.
That's a lot. So Kenneth, tell me a little bit about, I'm a big firm believer of not putting yourself in a box. So while you're this amazing, creative fashion lead for Macy's, tell me a little bit about transitioning into music, because I know you said that's what you're kind of trying to do now. So tell me a little bit about the trials and tribulations with that.
So, like you said, I do a lot. And a lot of times I don't even know how to say what I do.
Right.
Because I mean, my 9 to 5 right now is a fashion director. But I also have a podcast with Amir, who's my co-host, The Art of Finesse.
Hey.
I have a podcast. I have done some styling work for like magazines. I write, but the focus is the music. And the transition has been honestly not as hard as I had imagined, because a lot of the connections that I have, established within fashion, I'm able to use when it comes to music, or they know someone who's connected. But it's one of those things where you have to basically prove yourself again. And I've been working in this industry for a long time. I feel like I have proven myself in my work ethic, but DJing is new to me. I've been doing it for a year and a half, and it's something that I don't want to be looked at as like a blogger or a fashion person turned DJ. That is just at an event looking cute. I'm more so about the art of DJing. I can go to the event and look cute and get the party started, but I'm also practicing nonstop. And it's one of those things where you have to really be willing to put in the work, no matter what it is, to make yourself known that like you're capable of doing it, and not just capable, you're damn good at it. So
There you are.
thank you. Thank you. You doing some
Are you
stuff.
spending
yeah,
after
this is
this?
good.
Are we
I
trying
am.
to listen to a party?
I am. Well, not here, but I have a gig right after this.
But the good thing is, Kenneth exclusively provided all of the jams from his SoundCloud and his Apple Music
Alright.
channels.
But yeah, it just goes back to just making sure that you put in the work.
Definitely. Definitely. And Paul, who is a huge advocate for Black Models Matter, as a As a non-African American male, tell me about what your drive
I mean, I think it just goes back to like, I mean, I grew up in Harlem, South Bronx. Like, you know, it was like just, I didn't meet a white person until I was 15. So really, like, I grew up like us in the room. This is very comfortable and very normal, very like, that's what I'm used to seeing, being around, like, experiencing and appreciating, and obviously communicating, networking, all that happening. So like, you know, by the time I got to high school, where I went to Brooklyn Tech, that's when I was like, oh, this is how white people live. And like, that's nice. And like, it was a whole different thing. So, you know, taking that years later to like, now I'm a fashion week, now I'm around, you know, some like ridiculously talented people and some beautiful models, and I don't see us there. I don't see us a lot. I don't see us very often. So it started to become really kind of frustrating and wondering like, why, well, obviously we're not on the covers as much, we're definitely not featured in editorial spreads as much. You know, we're in these shows, lots of money being spread across, everyone's benefiting, people are like rising up in these ranks. And so I started seeking out those models that I know and appreciate the beauty of, and like obviously are amazing, and they got them not because they're black or whatever, they're there because they're beautiful, but I put them first. So I seek them out to make sure they get their shot and they get photographed first, I get their Instagram first. I make sure like that's on my feed all the time. And the hashtag wasn't my idea, but I saw it at a show. I think it was like, if you don't know Jerome Lamar, if you know
Shout out to Jerome.
He's amazing. Yeah, he's incredible. I was at a show and I saw the hashtag on the bag, and someone had a really cute tote bag that said Black Lives Matter. I looked it up, and obviously like I kind of, you know, I put that on my feed, and then I saw the hashtag, it was part of their campaign. So I really could appreciate that, that the visibility matters, and the kind of, you know, invisibility that I see right now a lot is a problem. So I'm just, you know, I think we're all artists and we're all in some way creating. We become like activists because of our authenticity and like what we want to see in the world and what change we want to see. So that's just kind of a little, for me, it's just a small part of like what I can do. You know, I'm just a photographer, I take a picture, and pretty people post with me, and that's great. But like, if I can shed some light and like highlight what I see as like a trend, you know, I'm happy to do so, and that's where the kind of passion for that kind of, that work comes from.
Let's give it a applause, guys. Because we are running short on time, I'm gonna kind of.
But can I add on, because it's really important.
Go ahead.
And like, it's something that I've been pressing lately. We need to hold not only ourselves but this industry accountable. A lot of times we will be the only brown face or the only minority in the room, and that's just how the industry is. But at the same time, don't think that you have to be brainwashed or go with what everyone else is doing or they think is right to get your foot in the door. Like, I work with people, I'm the only black person in my office, and there's so many times, especially today, where I have to like pull people aside and like say like, look, this is what's going on and this is what we need to do because this is not right. And it's important for us, people of color, to really make sure that people are held accountable and know that yes, we may be in the industry, but we are not going to tolerate it just because we are in this industry and we don't want to lose our place. So, Brent, sorry, but it's important.
Just to even piggyback off that real quick, I think you're so right about that. I think it's about really owning ourselves in the space that we're in. As I was the only black girl on my Forbes team, first black on-camera anchor ever for Forbes. So I really, you know, I kind of, at first when I entered that space, I'm like, I have to pull myself back, you know. I have to wear certain things, I have to look a certain way. But then I really realized what space I was in. I'm like, I'm going to put this red lip on. I'm going to wear my blue earrings. I'm going to still look classy and be, you know, what the Forbes business model is, but I'm still going to own myself and brand myself with Forbes as opposed to Forbes branding me.
Exactly.
So
All right, guys. So, because we're running short on time, I just want to ask you guys, all right, New York Fashion Week. So, how you get into the events, and once you're in there, what do you do to separate yourself from everyone else?
Okay, so I'm gonna just give y'all a quick rundown of what I did. This was before I actually started doing the RSVP, but it was for Tom Ford a couple of seasons ago, and I was dressed head to toe in all black with my Chanel purse and some stockades and some fishnets
You
and
got
a red
your
lip.
stuff back.
Yeah. So, I was figuring out how I'm gonna get in, So it was a couple of Caucasian girls behind me, and they were like giggling, and I'm like, "Look, girl, we finna walk in." Look at me. So I'm like, "All right, girl, now look." because I'm about to walk in. So while the girls were like, yes, and I was like, yes. My feet were hurting at this point if y'all were so case. So I'm like tipping right through there, and like the white girls behind me, they were like, hey, and I'm like, girl, I'm already in. And I was walking too slow. They were giggling, looking nervous, and I looked like I belonged. And so, you know, look, you gotta finesse your way in. I'm a finesse king.
The art of
so.
finesse.
And then once you in, own it.
Once you in, own it. Because I tell you, I kid you not, I lied. I was sitting next, it was June Ambrose that was supposed to be sitting to the left of me, and I was sitting in some girl, Italian girl's seat that I'd never heard of. So they said the last name, the press came, and they were like, are you XYZ? And I was like, yeah, darling, yeah. She didn't show up. So thank God, because I'm like, my feet hurt, I'm nervous, I don't really know they're gonna kick me out. But she didn't show up, and I got a picture next to June Ambrose, and she told me she loved my lipstick, and it was a moment. Because it was come forward.
Well, I believe in the art of finesse, but also work, because the finesse don't work unless you're working. So
Right.
you really need to always keep that in mind, that you're not going to just be cute enough or dope enough for anyone in this fashion industry, especially being a minority. You're totally like, odds are against you. So what I typically would recommend, before I actually was able to get connections of my own, I found that gig on Craigslist, and I worked under this lady, and I would go to shows as her. Just because these were the mediocre shows that she didn't have time to go to, and I was all up in those shows trying to figure out who else I could talk to, what else I could do, and all of my articles were due at midnight every night. So going to 12 shows and then having to complete these articles, I was like, I'm getting something out of it. So always keep your email threads, like literally, look at your email more than you look at Instagram. I swear to you, like if you guys do that for like even a week, things might even shift for you like now. But send emails. Get those even denied emails. Look in people's Instagram bios. Go to Vogue's like Instagram and look at who Vogue's following, and then look at who those people are following. And before you know it, you're gonna find an editor's email. You're gonna find a lot of things that you probably wouldn't have if you were just looking at a feed for Complex or the Shade Room. Just being honest. So putting in that work while you're using social media, but go on email, send those emails. Even if you get a denied email or you don't get an email back, it's always great to reference, hey, I was on email with, I'm just going to use the Kate Spade, whatever name. And if someone says to you, like, can I see the email? You can show them, hey, I was on the email with her. We actually later maybe even talked on the phone. She just told me to, stay persistent, whatever. When you have names and you have information, knowledge is power. And that sounds cliche, but when you know what you're talking about, on top of looking good and wearing these like outfits where you dress to head to toe, you can finesse that. Just knowing what to say, how to say it, and just being half black. I'm not really on time all the time, so just being on time, like really, like clearly today I showed up later than everyone else, but just being on time and knowing that when you're putting yourself in those spaces, acts on time, looking good, having a point of reference, you can finesse, but. Also, when it comes to RSVP, that's simply a matter of reserving space. So if you have that information of knowing, an RSVP means that if there's space available, you can come in. So never take no for an answer. If there's space in this room, if there's one more seat that I see available, or if I even see that the place is not packed out, I don't listen. I just walk straight in. I'm sorry, but I'm at a place in my life where I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm standing firm for my culture, so I'm gonna hold it down. And if I get stopped while I'm walking in, then whatever. But if I even come to the first row seats and they move me and tell me that that's someone's seat while you're in the show, which that may happen if you finesse, they're gonna come up to you like, excuse me, are you blah blah blah? You know what? Maybe I have my seat confused, and politely walk to the back of the room and see the show and zoom your camera in from the back, because either way you're still in the room.
Right.
And if y'all have any other questions or whatever about that later, I'm gonna wrap it up, but I'll be finessing, so y'all can talk to me about that. Finesse and work, that's it.
So finesse is like, I live by that. Hence the podcast being called The Art of Finesse. But on the flip side, in this industry or in a lot of industries, publicists and PR people are going to be your best friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that they need to contact, let's say, Gucci, like by sending them email directly. A lot of brands, designers are represented by PR agencies, so they're in charge of the show invite.
Mm-hmm.
So you emailing Michael Kors himself is really not going to help you. So what you can do is, Google is your best friend as well. So Google a lot of like PR agencies, whether it be Purple PR, whether it be Factory PR here in New York City, and see who their clientele is, who they represent, and just say, you know, what I used to do when I was blogging in college, I used to say like, my name is Kenneth Kyrell. I also have a blog, gave them a brief description of that, and send them certain links. Like if I did a review of a collection, I would send them that link so that they can see like, okay, well, if he gets an invite to this show, we can get some press from this because he can, you know, put this out to his followers.
How can they benefit?
Exactly. So
important.
they want to know how they can benefit from
Yeah.
you being in the room.
But
So I
you
would
gotta
say,
have a good following.
yeah, well, I would agree to a certain standard, like to a certain level.
Yeah.
This whole following thing is a whole nother panel for a whole nother day.
Yes.
But I have less than 10,000 followers, okay?
Quality.
But at the same time, I'm always in the same room with these girls that have millions of followers.
Yeah, yeah.
So just put that into perspective
Yeah.
for you for a second.
Yeah.
It's really about the work and how you present yourself.
Right.
But to answer your question, PR agencies, publicists, they're your best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer your question, you're thinking, can I sneak in? It's so unlikely you'll sneak in. Maybe to an after party, but definitely not to the shows. It's very tough. I mean,
Yeah.
I think like, you know, if you have time, you can try it, but like,
Yeah.
I think sneaking into a show is tough.
You
But
gotta be fast.
the existential question I get is like, why do you want to be in the room?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You better know why you want to be there.
Yeah.
If it's just for a photo op to look cute, that's great, but like dig deeper and see what that will do for you. Like why should you be in that room? What is being in there going to help you with?
Mhm.
It should be something that helps you move forward in whatever you're trying to do. So, you know, I think like authentically like analyze why do you want to be in that room in that show? Because it's just a photo op, then those are going to come and go, and that's just an opportunity that's missed. You might get in, but that's just all you're going to get a photo out of that. So I feel like know why you want to be in the room, and then work on that. So if it's like because you're a designer, because you have a connection to like makeup or hair, you do styling, like just use that angle to kind of leverage your way into there. Because I know I've gotten in through a lot of editors, but I've also met stylists, and stylists are amazing. They're connected. They know a lot of people. Like I said, like I think stylists are the glue of this industry. They're just incredible magicians, and they know everybody. They put everything together from many different designers, many different makeup artists. They know everybody. So I feel like, you know, get to know stylists. They end up, stylists usually end up working somehow in shows. They're involved in their own dressing, or they're involved backstage, or they're invited. So, you know, I think I would say network like crazy, but just more importantly, like, you know why you want to be in the room, and use that reason to be in the room to kind of get you to the people you want to be in. So I can shout out like my people are like nail polish people. Like you wouldn't think about that, but nail polish is a huge industry, and I started there. I covered nail polish, nails, and Naomi Gonzalez for Zoya Nail Polish got me into like Mark Hazen, got me into like Jill Stewart, got me into, you know, like amazing shows. So, you know, it's she noticed me doing my work passionately, and she's like, hey, would you mind shooting? And that's how it worked. So just I had a purpose to be in the room to shoot for something else, but because she saw my passion for that thing, she said, could he do that for my thing? And then all of a sudden it clicked, and I was like getting invited to all these top shows and shooting out for a lot of amazing people. So stylists like Dapper Africa, I shot him at an event, and he saw my work afterward, and he was like, you covered me like I was New York Times. And I'm like, yeah, because, you know, that's what I'm gunning for. Like, I want to be in this for a long time doing amazing work. I'm not just here for, you know, some Instagram followers and some likes. I mean, I really want to put work out there that like stands the test of time, and you will look at it and be like, that guy has a vision, has a voice. You know, I know when I look at his feed, I'll see something that's kind of him, authentic to who he is, and I like that. So I think it's important to really kind of think about why you want to be there.
Well, to piggyback off of what he's saying, knowing why you want to be there, but also knowing what designers do you want to be like, who do you really want to connect with. There's baby steps within that process, and I can honestly tell you the first 2 to 3 seasons of Fashion Week, this is before New York Fashion Week men's came about, because if you all don't know, I prefer menswear. But there were times where I was in these rooms and at these shows, and I might have probably looked up more to the person who's on their front row than the environment itself. I was like, okay, this is corny. This is whack. Like, this is not what I'm seeing in these streets. Because I know the streets and I know the runway, and this is just not accurate to what I'm going to spend my money on, and even somebody who probably has it will. So until that like merge of streetwear and luxury recently happened, I think that a lot of us were just there to be there, or some of us were there to connect and network across. But and I guess the last 2 seasons, even me going international now, I'm seeing now what I love and what I'm passionate about. And positioned in these rooms where I actually care and I give a damn and I'm working, but I'm of the environment, and I'm someone that really believes in like progression. I agree with you on the whole follower thing. I believe in quality over quantity work. I don't post on Instagram to sometimes get attention. Sometimes I'm literally like, this is my visual portfolio. I could care less about Instagram for 2 weeks. I'm trying to travel the world. So just being really true to knowing like patience and time is a key here, but knowing who you want to connect with and what little steps you need to be taking in between. You're gonna have to do things that you don't want to do, or have to do some research and putting your phone down and really being in the environment. Sometimes when you go to events, it's not all about throwing your phone up and snapping with your friends. Sometimes it's really about figuring out before you get there who may be there and who you may need to talk to while you're in that room. So just being mindful of that. Don't just look for the photo op moment like you mentioned. Look for the moment that's going to create a future and longevity for you.
All right, guys, so we're going to do a brief Q&A. All your personal questions, please save for networking with all of our panelists. They're ready and willing to talk to you. But just if you guys have any general questions that you think the audience would want to hear, let's keep it one question max, as short as possible, but floor is open to you guys. If you raise your hand, first hand I saw. Stand up.
Hi, it's Michelle. Good to be here. I'm Diana. I am a songwriter, so I'm in the music industry, so I wanted to know if you guys had any general advice on how, if someone who loves fashion and wants to get more involved, so how do I make that sort of connection?
Always look good. Always look dope. Always wear one thing that you're uncomfortable wearing. Because somebody else is going to come up to you and talk to you about it, and you don't know who they know in music and fashion. It's kind of synonymous at this point. Like they say sports and music are synonymous, but fashion and music is too. So for our culture and for where we're going with everything right now, it's just really important to always present your best self, because that is a conversation starter, and you never know where that conversation can take you.
You want to touch on that as a songwriter?
Yeah, I always say that music and fashion acts as a global adhesive. It brings people together, like from so many different backgrounds. And like you said, it is interchangeable. For me personally, I like to express myself through the way I look, the way I dress, but I also express myself through sounds. And music is like the backdrop to everything I do. So if you can find a way to combine those two, like what I do honestly is like my Instagram. So on Instagram, it's like I may post a photo of me in like a dope outfit, but I may like, the caption may be a song lyric, or I may say like I have mixes that have been inspired from me getting dressed. And it sounds really kind of crazy, but like people make the connection with fashion and music and Kenneth Kyrell. So it's really about branding and just finding the two that like how they can merge together, like you said. It's all about synergy.
Yeah, and ask a photographer. I mean, if you see a photographer you like that's young, not necessarily Instagram based, but if you see someone, like just ask them, hey, like, I'm a new artist, I'd like to do a shoot, like what would it be like? I mean, I think you have to invest sometimes, and I'm always like telling people like, your best friend for the day is the person who's paying you. So try and get someone who's gonna pay you to do that thing you do. And so like, in general, like I, as a restaurateur, I also have music nights. So, go around places, go to venues and get booked at places, sing wherever you can and try to get paid for it. I think that's amazing because that'll get you the opportunity to like shoot with somebody else who would make you look amazing, because you need, like I said, a photographer and I think a stylist. The rest, you can do your own makeup, you can do your own hair if you want, but like that stylist will make magic happen for you. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
Y'all better not be
No
DMing us your
question.
questions.
I don't check my
I'm not
DMs,
answering the
so-
DMs, so.
Is everyone here going to Fashion Week, or is everyone going to at least one show? So yes, everyone.
Does anyone know how to access, this is very vital information, I'm sorry, I know we're running over on time, but like, this is very important. Does anyone in here know how to access the list to show you a calendar and also a list of PR contacts?
That's
But
okay,
that-
because
yeah.
we
We're gonna
do,
figure this out,
and we
man.
know how to get you connected, and what we are doing on our site, which is actually live right now, is we provided the full list of all the PR contacts that are handling each and every guest list for every single New York Fashion Week show this season. What you need to do is go to www right now, NYC, and go to our New York Fashion Week press list page and you can purchase the list because it's a liability for us to provide it for free, unfortunately. But we're doing it at a very low competitive price that usually it would be over $500, $600, $700, $800, $9,000. And if you get in and you have a plan the way this panel just explained, you're gonna win. Okay, so definitely check it
And
out.
definitely take the pointers that the panel provided, even, you know, when we discuss later, when you talk to them later, definitely know how to reach out, because that's big also. Just
Check your grammar.
Right.
Spell check.
And I'll say
grammar,
this.
approach, all that is so
Right.
important because they'll deny you in a quick second.
They'll
But if you
deny
come
you.
correct, you got a better chance.
And I'll say this, this is just one good pointer that a stylist friend of mine, Harrison, who actually got me to this point where I could do that. Please, whenever you are sending out your emails, make sure that the information that you're providing to the PRs is factual and adds up to what you actually do, because they will go back and they will check every source that you put in there, not even just your personal blogs, but if you say if you're represented by VH1, they will actually go to VH1 and they will email you back and tell them that the people do not know you, and they will X you off of all of the lists, and you will not be able to get into any
Ever.
shows.
You're
Ever.
gonna, from then, you're never,
Like,
don't ever.
So don't
contact
say
me again.
Stixx told me to, no, because I don't know you. I don't know you.
And also, guys, like they said before, definitely if you have any type of work or corporate email, that may also weigh in a little bit.
Yeah, don't send it from like
A
a
Gmail.
I mean, you
with
can.
a letter in it,
Right,
or like
yeah,
a nickname
exactly.
or a
Definitely
number.
professional email.
Make a new Gmail if you
addresses.
need to.
And definitely include all references. You know, if you have, for me, I always put my Forbes site, I always put my Complex YouTube. Whatever you guys have, whatever work you have, if you have an online portfolio, include that just because it gives them some background on you, so you're not just Sally Joe who wants to come to my
And look in the Craigslist gig section. I mean, really and truly, that is what introduced me to my first ever show at the Lincoln Center. Finding a gig where someone was overwhelmed with their work and needed somebody to go do their like D-list work.
Right.
So look in the gig section. Look on Indeed right now. Type in New York Fashion Week. Look on fashionista.com. Even sometimes typing in the Twitter search bar job opportunities just to see who wants someone to work with them. That being the key to mold all of this together. That's why we're all here, because we all put pride aside and said, like, I'm about to work underneath somebody. I'm sure we all were unique and cool individuals on our own, but everybody needs somebody at some point in this career, in this industry.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Just have one question, general question. So early 2000s and before that, they had everything in Bryant Park, and then it was Lincoln Center for a little bit, and now everything is kind of dispersed out.
So that you can't finesse.
Yeah.
You guys smart.
It's much harder to finesse, and the venues are more expensive now. It's like $30,000 for a room like this just to do a 5-10 minute show. So they're like outsourcing different venues now. So it's so much harder to like just walk in.
The new plan is, though, they say that they're going to be on Hudson Yards. So they will be like bringing it back all to one space in Hudson Yards when that kind of venue is ready to go.
But the
that's
security is tight.
season's out. So
And I'll give you this last tip. I don't usually do it, but if you are with a company like ABC, BET, VH1, please download Fashion GPS.
Yes.
Because if not, you're not going to be able to get in the show because they don't look at your emails. They scan the barcode.
Yeah.
But, you know, you might not get approved through Fashion GPS either. But it's worth a shot.
And one more thing, just so y'all don't get caught up, if you ever like share a barcode or an email, make sure your friend is not already in there. Or make sure like you're not screenshotting an email that can get you caught up and turned around. That's not okay, because at that point you're still not building relationships with these people. You still want to reach out. You still want to even have that thread where you're denied. Sometimes that's good to go back upon and send them another email on top of it the next season and show them, I've updated my links for you below. My following has now grown 500 plus, blah, blah, blah. Here's who I'm presenting myself to you now. I know you mentioned last season you may be full. I'm open to a standing accommodation. Just keeping yourself like abreast to not just finesse this whole thing, but to truly build and show people your growth and your eagerness to be there.
Hi. My question is, how important is it to touch base on what's going on in the industry, knowing designers, knowing what's in, like how vital of that information is?
I think it's super important for you to be aware of the current affairs within this industry. But don't go crazy thinking that you have to learn every single factor.
Yeah.
If you need to find something that connects with you. So if your focus is menswear, you can know what's going on overall, but really focus in on what's happening in menswear. A lot of people that want to get into this industry think they have to pick up every cover of Vogue, Elle, GQ, and just like immerse themselves, which is totally okay. But at the same time, it's like know what sticks out to you and know what you're interested in, and just like study that. I'm a firm believer in working smart and not hard. So yeah, don't go crazy.
I would say also like follow like young designers. Like they need the most love. I mean, like these Michael Kors and Andrew and Alexander Wang and Vero, they have like a million people want to get them, but these young designers, they need people to like notice them, see them, share their work. So I would look like I'm like in love with what Talia do right now. I'm in love with like I've gone with Chang. I mean, like there's like designers that are just coming up now that are amazing that you want to kind of. That's again like looking sideways around you and you're like, who can I kind of level up with? Think about that too. And then obviously like if you're ever at a show and like if we're backstage, if you ever go there, like know the designer, their face, and a little bit about them because you might bump into them. And it's nice to like have something to reference with them. My first season, I didn't actually know who Libertine. I got the show and I went to go shoot it, and I saw this guy and I'm like, oh my god, I love your jacket, can I shoot it? It was a designer. So this is embarrassing, but like, he was cute about it because he's like, oh thanks, and you shot it, nice photo. But like, would have been better had I known who he was and kind of addressed him by name and knew more about him. So do a little bit of homework when you go to a show. Know who the designer like looks like, she looks like, and a little bit about the brand if you care about it. Because if you go backstage and if you're in that world, then it's nice to kind of not mistakenly not know who it is.
My last thing that I would say today, because my mouth is so dry, but I'd say you should also always know what's kind of trending, but still stay true to yourself. So if you see that the color red is really lit this season or really great and relevant, it's really good to kind of emulate some looks or like imitate them, but also have your own way of doing that, because street style and press is very important. So even if you can't get into this show and you're attempting to come in, finesse, or connect with other people, you being outside, you being on brand, on point, and in that environment, you really don't ever know. I've had designers compliment me on my look and it's been like a $3 look, but it was, oh, that looks like this runway piece or this and that, and I'm like, well, holler at me if you want some vintage on the side. You just don't ever know. So just playing the part too is very important. And having knowledge, but not going so far from who you are and what you actually like about fashion.
Okay, in the interest of time, I'm just gonna take 2 more questions. 1, 2. Well, let's get a guy and we'll do 3. Greg, this guy, and
Yeah,
go ahead, Tom.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Tia. I'm actually a newfound fashion designer. I taught myself. Okay. I'm actually really bad in terms of networking, and I don't have a high social standing in terms of social networks. So it's just like, how do I reach out to those? Because I feel like I'm a dope ass person. That's
Okay, you can.
but it's just it's all new to me. I've only been doing this for a certain amount of time, little amount of time.
Did you make that skirt?
Yes, I did.
I love that.
But I really am struggling in terms of reaching out to people who understand my style and understand who I am, and also how would you guys?
Well, for one, you're in the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
You just did
That's why I'm
it.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You just did
Shantae,
it.
and
Yeah.
wherever she is.
Let's just do quick answers. My suggestion for that would be, at first, I was the same way. I didn't like networking. I'm a people person, but I like my space. I don't bond with everybody. I don't click with everybody. However, it's so important. Networking is like, if not number 1, number 2. You just kind of have to put all your stigmatism and everything to the side, and just really, like you said, you're in the right place here. Network with not only the panelists, but the people in the room. There's so many dope people, from publicists to stylists to media personalities to everything. Really just walk up to someone and say, hey, what do you do? What's your profession? Here's mine. Oh, you're a media personality? Oh, I make these skirts. I wear that on set. There we go. We're going to holler. We're going to talk. So really just kind of take yourself outside of the box that you've always been in. That would really, I know it's hard, but I guarantee, I promise you it'll be beneficial. I promise you.
I think you did a really great job of wearing your own clothing
Yeah.
today.
Absolutely.
That's
Always do.
Yeah, so
Always
of
market.
course that's a no-brainer. Just literally always wearing your clothing. But as a stylist, I'd say my biggest frustration with people who wear their own clothing and don't have samples readily available. That's an issue because then it's like I like that skirt and you're like, oh, it's a
I
one
want
of
it.
one, and I'm
Right.
like, okay, well,
What you want
what,
to do?
what am I gonna do? You just want to look cute in your stuff, or you want to make this money? So
Be prepared.
I'd say always having just a rack of maybe like a run, and not a conventional size run, not a 2 and a 4. Literally make a small size and make a large size because you don't ever know what's gonna come up. Literally, I have 2 Grammy clients that I just booked in 24 hours. You never know who can make that one call to you and change your whole life. So just be ready, have those samples ready, and you're already doing a great job of being at connected scenes and wearing your clothing stuff.
Or if you see like you just did now, you're wearing your product. Fashion Week last year, I literally was resting my feet at a Starbucks. I was putting on my lipstick of my product, and the girl next to me, she was just a blonde girl, and she was like, "Oh, your lips are so cute." And I'm like, "Okay, girl, yeah, you need it." So then she was like, "Okay, so how do I get it?" Long story short, she's on Orange is the New Black. I didn't even know it was her. So just marketing yourself and being confident in that. You got it, girl.
And you can let it speak, like, it's obviously speaking for itself. Like, you stood out, like,
As soon
it's
as
a
you
cute
stood
skirt,
up,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But at the same time, like, you can let your product do the talking. So, as simple as you sending over your portfolio to, say for instance, a female DJ, and say, look, girl, like, I know you got a gig coming up, like, I'm a designer, like, let her wear that, and, like, her following can bring in more followers for you, and, like, you don't know who she's going to be spinning for. So, it's just, like, I use DJing because, like, that's my lane right now, like, that's all I see, but just use that example and just run with it. A fashion blogger, you know, people that shoot street style all the time.
Well,
I'm pretty
even,
sure.
even somebody that has a 9 to 5 with
Yeah,
nothing
what-
pertaining to fashion, those are the people that actually have the coin sometimes too. To
Well, I'm
spend.
not necessarily because, like, sometimes we have to think outside of the coins because, you know, you're not going to always make money at every exchange. But,
true.
you know, exposure, and I'm not saying working for free or giving your clothes away, but it's using
Exposure
someone's
is
exposure to bring exposure to your brand. So get out that mindset of everything that you do needs to be paid because I've done a lot of free shit.
Yeah, a
But
lot.
at the same time, I built a name in this industry, and I'm building a name in the DJ world that if you don't meet my rate, then I'm not going to do it. But I can do that now because I put in the work.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Just a,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
just a quick touch on that. Where there's been so many times where designers have reached out to me and they'll have, like you said, samples ready. I've worn their clothes, you know, on set
Red
for
car- yeah.
Complex, and the next thing you know, they're being featured
Yep.
in Complex.
Yeah.
So definitely, like you said, own your brand, promote your brand just by yourself, look the part, as Talia said, and I think things will happen for you. Let's go, Britt, and then next, and then
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Just want to take a second to thank the panel for being there. My name is Brittany Bowers. I'm an inspiring designer as well. Caliber Expo. Want to check in on Instagram and Twitter. My question is about just doing the work and taking up opportunities, whether it not be just coming into the event and being seen, but actually working. Do you have any tips or suggestions being backstage, even if it's running, like you said, or dressing this time? I've done a couple, but just looking for additional tips to just get your foot in the door.
Well, I'll say it again.
let's do top tips.
Okay, top tips. It's really, for me, an example. So speaking of Jerome Lamar, I'm really good friends with him. One day I went to go pick up a jacket. I had an event, and he was literally in there sewing beads onto a jacket. And he was like, "Oh my God, I wish I had help right now." You know, and it's amazing. People think that once you get to a certain point in the industry, that people have help just like at their expense, but that's not always the case. So it's really just about reaching out and people that inspire you, whether it be for their work ethic or their aesthetic, saying, look, I know that you're busy, I'm busy, but I want to learn more and I'm willing to like really grind with you or for you. And you'll be amazed how many people, big or small, will be like, yo, come on, let's do it.
Yeah, be around creative people is what I would say, 100%. Because people who are like in a corporate thing, like I can speak from experience, like they're not thinking this way. So you need to like be around other creatives. Like so, find like a small business thing, creative thing. Connect the teams, obviously the teams like network like crazy. But you have to be around people who are in the same hustle, struggle, like trying to get things done, projects done. Volunteer on theirs, they'll volunteer on yours. You really should just kind of get to know everybody who's in the same boat as you, because they're going to be the ones who grew up with you in the industry. And I've seen it happen time and time again from like I said, Jerome, like he's an amazing guy. And I've seen him, now 4 seasons,
Right.
and just kind of, seeing where he's gone is amazing. But I know like what he goes through, and I know what I go through, and we all need help. Like we do a lot of free work in this business, like more than you can imagine. Free work happens, and so just to kind of take it to the next level, start doing the free work and do the projects, photo shoots, and whatever you can.
And document that.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is, my biggest word of advice to you is just going to be to keep your intentions clear with whoever you're working with. If you do try to take on like different options, I still work as a wardrobe assistant, and I have 2 other assistants for myself. And I'm a progressive stylist and creative director, but I know for a fact that I never know enough or too much. And telling that person who you're working with, or working under, even if it's a gig that you have for 2 hours, just letting them know why you're here. Hi, you mentioned who you are, you said your brand, you did everything right, but giving them that same introduction to tell them, like, I'm not here to like bite off of what you're doing. I'm here to learn and develop some skills that I may need to apply into my business. That's very important, because sometimes people will feel like you're coming up under them with a motive or they'll take that energy weird, especially when you have so much going on and you really just want to grow your own brand. But just be clear about your intentions and why you're there and what you want to learn, because at the end of the day, like we all mentioned, there's a lot of free work that you have to do
Right.
before you can start setting that rate and saying, I don't work for free. And for me, I'm at a point now where I'm not really doing too much for free. However, let the right thing come across, or someone give me the right feelings and energy, and I'm gonna humble myself
Yeah.
and bring myself back to where I used to be and
Exactly.
say, I can help them. I can work with them on this. We can make some things happen.
Yeah.
All right, last question.
Everybody, I'm Reggie, photographer, videographer. Question about, we're talking about working with creators group transition. I'm wondering, where is that gradient? I mean, obviously, I've done a lot of free work, but people don't know that I've invested like $6,000 in my you're a DJ, you invest a lot of your photographer, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where is that gradient? A lot of times people, they might not realize the true value of what they're getting. They go and make fun of the video. At what point am I, like, just stop defining, like, this work isn't free, this is actually like a favor, and the second time around, like, I would like to pay for it. I'm just stop getting the free gigs and turn the customer, that same customer that
Got it.
It just doesn't stop.
Such an uphill battle. Go ahead.
Well, see, I'm gonna let you know from the dough. That's how I got kicked out and homeless in New York, because I told the girl I'm not doing nothing else for free. But the thing about it is that, like Jay-Z said, you have to charge what you're worth.
Yeah.
So if you know that you have the talent, that you have the work behind you, then you let them know. You negotiate your prices and say, look, you let them know clearly, look, I'm working with you for free this time as a trial run, and then the next time I expect to be paid, and don't move from that. And tell everybody else the same thing. That's the only way you're going to get your coins back, because other than that, you'll be singing for yourself at each time.
Forever.
And it is,
Okay.
like, there's going to become a point where, for me personally, I hate being the talent and talking financials, because I feel like it blurs the line.
It does.
So there may be a time where you have, it may not even be an agent or manager, it may be a friend that's acting as an agent or manager for you, who is setting your rates. And anything that comes to, you being paid for your services goes to them, even though it may be through you or a friend. But I say that because a lot of times when someone comes to you like, okay, I want you to shoot my photos, but like, how much are we talking? It gets tricky, and I personally, I'm at a point now where it's like, I'm not gonna talk about my rate, because I don't want that to like discourage you from working with me, but I'm gonna have someone else do it for me who's in charge of that. So
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
To
That's
speak,
interesting, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, no.
Well, to speak to that, some of the best advice that I got this year was from my good friend Europe Angelique. She's an amazing publicist, and she's sort of sometimes like my go-to for like some acting management advice.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing here? She'll handle certain things with me, and the best line in an email that I've ever dropped this year based on her advice was, what's the offer? It's like 3 words, and literally you can literally tell them like, thank you so much for reaching out, I really appreciate it. I'm so happy that we were able to connect last time creatively. What's the offer this time? Or just simply like, if it's someone,
Or their budget.
well, is there a budget?
Right.
It's those words, the offer, the budget, because the offer maybe I'm offering you in exchange
Right.
of services and talent, and it just creates that leverage of like them doing a little more talking than you, because initially, like, they're coming to you because they already know what you're capable of. They already know that you're dope and you have a great skill set. They already know your work ethic. And then if you've already produced prior with them, it's like, you've seen what I've done for free. Now, what can we really do if we get some things shaken, even with $200?
Yeah.
Sometimes you do have to shortcut yourself in that beginning stage, but I can tell you right now, and glory be to God, my rate has doubled in the last year of me literally just putting my foot down and being firm and knowing who I am. And let's just be real, y'all. At some point, creatively, y'all, you're going to have to connect with that talent or that star that's going to give you that speaking point. For Stixx, it's Good Morning America. For you, it's fashion and now DJing. For you, you mentioned several designers. At a certain point, you have to start kind of throwing those things out there subtly, be humble about it. But based on my last experience working with Drake or Kanye or whatever, from there, do you really think that these people are going to think for 1 second that you're working for free? I might have worked for Kanye for free, but Kanye has made me a lot of money in the last year. So, you know.
And what I do, like, sorry not to cut you off, but
No,
like,
I'm done. You're good.
if you don't feel comfortable saying like I've done this X, Y, Z, what I normally do when I send out emails, I have like an EPK, electronic press kit, where you have like a one-sheeter that has like a bio, who your clients have been in the past. So basically you're having that speak for you and how much you're worth. If you don't want to necessarily say like, I shot so and so and so, like just have it speak for you.
And two places I recommend for photographers is Thumbtack and Rodeo. And they're both places where you just set a rate. You say, hey, I'm here for projects that are $75 an hour, or $500 for the day, you know, $200 an hour, whatever it is. Like, you know, your rate, I think, you know, psychologically, like your rate should get better as the day gets longer. So like, for instance, like, let's say you're like, whatever, $150 an hour. And you'd be like, but I'll do a half day for $5, or I'll do a half day for $4, and I'll do a full day for $750. Just kind of like entice them, because, you know, you want to get that day of shooting, and so just kind of, you know, give them the price instead of like it gets a little cheaper if you go a little longer, and that they're enticed to kind of shoot for the whole day. And obviously with hair and makeup and styling, you know, you can eat it 4 hours easy in a day. You can shoot that pretty fast. So I think, you know, like set your day rate for now and know that it'll change. And every year, I mean, this is across, you know, the entire industry. It's like, you know, when you're in corporate, they give you like a 3% or 2% raise. You're in that same business. Like, you should be raising your rates every year because the cost of living goes up and nothing ever goes low in price.
Quarterly.
So yeah, right. So quarterly, whatever makes sense for you. But like, you know, start at like a number that works for you. Like $75 an hour is not expensive. If you can't afford to do that, then you probably shouldn't be shooting with a professional photographer. You should find a friend who'll do that for you.
Right.
You should stop with the free. Like, say no to the free, unless it's like Kanye asking you to shoot it, right? Like, don't do free work anymore until like someone bites. Right. You know. So.
All right, guys. Sorry, I had to get my wonderful audience. That concludes our panel. Let's give it up for our amazing panel. Yes, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Get your network on.
Yeah.
Of course. It was a pleasure. Get your network on. We got headshots over there. There's some wine, cupcakes, all that stuff over there. And find your panelists, network, and do what you guys do.
I have to run now. I'm so sorry. I have like a gig right now. But if anyone has any questions or want to connect with me, Candace has all my info, and I will answer everything. I promise.
All right, guys.
Give them those DMs.
Thank you. Wait, before we start networking and getting connected, just know we have drinks for everybody, food for everybody. We're gonna move the chairs so we can really get connected. If you didn't get an orange sheet or a yellow sheet when you walk in to our challenge, go find your badge in the room, and then yeah, have a good time. Okay, thank you.